Yes, it worked. Not enough storage device. Now it says default will be reverted to memory card. It's like, for fuck's sake. Why can't you just let me do it voluntarily? Nah. Fuck you, it said. It said, fuck you. I was just in the process of singing a bit of Pink Floyd. Yeah, I see you on the dark side of the moon. Pow, pow. Oh, more stars. This is the time of night I love best. If it's not night. Oh look, the Southern Cross is already coming out. It must be night. The stars just appear where they've always been. They've been there all day. We just couldn't see it because the sun was too close and it was drowning out the luminosity of the stars as a result of being so freaking bright. I mean, even that moon is bright as. I'll see you again as we come through the first tree here. It is really bright, and the sky is still bluish. Oh God. When it all finally starts to make sense, that's what I love. That's what I love. When it all starts to make sense. The sky is blue, and there's nothing you can do. This is ground control to Major Tom. You've really made the grade. And the papers want to know whose shirt you wear. Now it's time to leave the capsule if you dare. This is ground control to Little Cooper. You've done a lot of Cooper. Anyway, I should get back to the point. Stop waxing lyrical and shit. It's just hard. I need I need two pairs of hands really, so I can bear dog, stick, and camera all at once. There's just not enough hands in this world. So, in my next life, I think I will come back as a four-armed man. We got a few bats, they're coming out now, cool as. So, I was onto something. Oh, the rainbow connection. The lovers, the dreamers and me, all of us under its spell. We know that it's probably magic. Who said that every wish would be heard and answered? I'll tell you who said that. The Magians. According to your beliefs, so it will be. I know. Don't tell anybody. All those poor sods who believe that when they die, that's it. Then again, it's probably not the worst thing that could happen. I could think are worse. The worst thing would be still inhabiting that body over the centuries and centuries as the worms and microbes finally broke you down into the pieces of the Mother Earth from which you first were formed. But for some, oh look, I can see it, you probably won't see it. Nah, I doubt you've seen it. Never mind. Sonoluminescent mushrooms are very hard to see, even on the darkest of nights. Yeah. Where do you come from? Where do you go? Where did you come from? Long time ago. It's funny how some songs get into your head. Damn, that moon is bright for such a tiny little sliver moon, and it's not even dark yet. Well, it's bright to me. And this isn't even a really well treed area, to be honest. But it is getting dark, I suppose, and that's what gives the appearance of the moon getting brighter, with specifically the section of it illuminated directly towards where the sun has vanished from view, but the moon is still high enough to illuminate it. This is one of my pet hates. If you are a flat earther, which I hope you are, because you are whether you know it or not, but if you're still just coming to terms with the fact, or still in denial about it, there are many flat earthers who somehow got deluded into believing that the moon creates its own light. And I don't think anything could be more obvious that it does not. The only illuminated part of it is always pointing towards the sun. And so that's why I say, if you are a flat earther and you still somehow, for some reason, believe that the moon creates its own light, I can tell you right here, right now, it does not. Stop believing nonsense. Stop spreading nonsense. You know, the whole idea of getting past this bloody idea of being on a spinning ball in the first place is to get beyond superstitious nonsense. And to say that the moon creates its own light is superstitious nonsense. I will grant you that all the other stars, all the other luminaries, all the rest of them probably do actually create their own light. But to outright say that the moon does, when it's obviously some sort of artificial satellite put up there very near to us, is lunacy. That's where the very word comes from. Luna, the moon. It will send a lot of smaller minds crazy, make them into lunatics, because it is very, very, very hard to discern exactly what it is, but to assert facts such as it creates its own light is yet another form of lunacy. I should know. I've been one most of my life. Yeah, one of the reasons I even got into astronomy and astrology and all the rest in the first place was because of the moon. The moon intrigued me. The moon is not what it appears, but it is certainly illuminated as it appears. And if you can understand that the sun sets simply because it gets so far away while still being at the same height, parallel to the ground, and it only disappears due to perspective, which it does, then you can easily understand how something as high up as the moon will never see the sun set, because there's no ground in between it and the sun to come between it. There's nothing. The only time it ever happens is when perhaps one of these tail celestials following the sun wraps around enough to block the sunlight from the moon once in a while and create a lunar eclipse. But the fact that that has been recorded that many times while the sun and moon are both still visible is proof beyond the shadow of doubt that it is not the Earth's shadow causing a lunar eclipse. In fact, we will have one in 2 weeks, or less than 2 weeks actually, because the phases, you probably can't see it through these. This is the noisy back forest. It is through there though, you might catch glimpses as I walk. Is that the moon itself takes 50 minutes longer to make a single rotation than the sun does. So while it's there now, tomorrow night will be an hour behind that, which will mean it's a little bit, probably 15 degrees actually, when you work it out like that, higher up in the sky. And the night after that, another 15 degrees. It doesn't take very long, less than 2 weeks, before we'll have a full moon again. And because the sun and moon are so perfectly aligned at the moment that we had this partial solar eclipse just 3 days ago, sorry, it's Monday tonight, Monday 17th, or no, hang on, 16th, I don't know. Friday the 13th anyway, so 13th, 14th, yeah, today's the 16th. So on Friday the 13th we actually had a partial solar eclipse, and I've seen excellent photographic evidence where that new moon, you know, the dark part, the reason you can't see it is because the entire lit side is facing the sun, got so close to the sun from our vantage point that a tiny little fraction of it went across the top and blocked the sunlight. Hence why they call it a partial solar eclipse. And because these guys are so well aligned at the moment, in 2 weeks' time, when they do the opposite, when the sun is setting over there and the moon is rising behind me over in the east, something, I don't think it will be Earth's shadow. I'm going to go out and document this one. If the weather's like this, it'll be ideal. But something comes between the sun and the moon, and it is not this flat stationary plane that we are standing on, because the luminaries are all revolving around above us. Oh, come on, Cooper. Don't you little crapper. Far out, there's lots of bats out. I don't know if they'll show up on camera or not, but there is 1 or 2,000. You can see on a dark night, well after the sun's gone down and when there's no moon, it gets really dark down through here. And I generally walk barefoot, but it's just so cold at the moment. I decided to put some shoes on. The point is, the moon is never, ever blocked from sunlight while it is up so high by anything other than potentially a third celestial body, which we call Rahu, who, hang on a sec, I need to stop and have a drink, who is, or that is, that is normally invisible for the same reason that the new moon is always invisible, because it's too close to the sun, and the sun is too bright. So occasionally this Rahu, often called a dark sun because it doesn't produce its own light like the sun does and like the moon doesn't, is so close to the sun you'll never see it. But on this rare occasion, when it comes between the sun and the full moon, which it's going to do, I think, the 21st, hang on, that doesn't add up, 13 and 7 is 20, and another 7 should be about the 27th or something. None of these things are precise mathematics, mind you. They all work according to the laws of nature, which have nothing to do with the numbers that we've invented around them. Even our whole numerical system is designed around the moon. It's the only reason there's 7 days in a week. It's because it's fairly close to how many days there are in a quarter cycle of a moon, approximately 28. They like to divide everything by 4, stamp a cross on it. The cross. Yeah. X marks the spot. Anyway, we're going to come up here very shortly, and I should be able to give you a very nice view of the Southern Cross. The Southern Cross, by the way, which is where the whole sun-worshipping, heliocentric religious cult was originated from, because they say the sun is the son of God. Whoa. Which technically it is. It's the son of God, but somehow deluded minds are able to twist this and say that the sun is God. And some Holy Spirit voodoo bullshit is the Trinity. I'll tell you what the Holy Trinity is. The Holy Trinity starts with the Mother Earth, the one who bore us, the one who gives us our bodies, whose air we breathe as much as her air breathes us. The water that runs through her veins is the water that runs through our veins. The air made by the trees that we breathe comes from her. Everything comes from her. I'm not going to start preaching gospels or nothing, but the Essene gospel of peace. Essene, as in essential, only E-S-S-E-N-E, will give you all the information you need when it comes to understanding the Mother and her angels. The very first commandment of the Bible: honor thy mother and thy heavenly Father. Thy earthly mother comes first. That is why Mother Mary is always dressed in blue, because the sky is blue and we live within her womb. So you've got the Mother Earth, the Father Son, who is but a shadow of the real light from behind it. Hence why they need the angel of Lucifer to dilute it sufficiently into life-giving proportions for us here in the womb. And to complete the Trinity between the Father, Son, and the Mother Earth, we are the children of the gods. I don't know if that Southern Cross is showing or not, but I'll go back to that story quickly now. Is that the ancient Egyptians who came up with the sun worshipping as God would say that the Son of God dies on the cross, the Southern Cross, every December 22nd. That's their winter solstice. It doesn't die, it sets. Who is the brother of the sun god Ra? Set. Set kills him and divides him into all these pieces. And after 3 days, the Son of God is born again. 3 days after the winter solstice of December 22nd is December 25th. And what do we all celebrate all around the world today? On December the 25th, the birth of the Son of God. It's all ancient superstitious sun worship beliefs. And that's where it all comes from, way back in ancestry. There's another plane. See how it looks about the same height as the stars, but when you see it moving you know it's much, much nearer. And then we look over here and there it is again, the Southern Cross. The Son of God never dies. It is eternal. It is always born again on December 25th. For you Northern Hemispherians, that is. I don't know if that little blip just showed there, but how cool was that? I'm going to keep the camera showing here for a moment because it will do that blip again. I can guarantee you I can still see the tiny little light from it myself. Oh, there it goes. That's not the one I was looking at. It's the second one. There were two of them. So if you come out at night and actually look at the sky, you see all sorts of witches. Hey, come here. Come here. Get off the road. Keeper. Scares the shit out of me. He's got no bloody road sense whatsoever. You idiot. What, are you just going to sit on there and let the car run you over? Get the next wave of people coming home from their slave jobs at the moment. Because it is actually still only early, because it's winter. Where was I? Talking about blips. Blips that shouldn't be there because they don't match the things that we should be observing. You can come back out here in another hour or two when it's completely dark and you will see just endless numbers of them. You can stare into any place in the sky and you will see little lights moving around in ways that do not match the way things should be. When you could see the planes, they're quite obvious. We think we know about satellites. Look, there's a moving one going there. Why is that satellite going towards the east against the rotation of the Earth itself. You know, everything goes towards the west, like the moon is doing, and the sun. There it is, right in front of the Southern Cross. Geez, I hope that shows up. Look at it. Look at it. You think that's a satellite reflecting sunlight? Why would it be reflecting that much sunlight? Bam! Straight through the Southern Cross. Wow. Never seen one like that before. That was awesome. Come here. Fucking hell, Cooper. I swear. You need me a heart attack. I don't care if it's turning. You gotta expect it's not. One of these days I'll be coming out here without that stupid dog. Did I say stupid? No, he's very, very smart. He knows how to stress me out. But look at that thing. I don't know if you can still see it or not. To me, it is moving very, very high. Smaller than most of the stars and a bit closer. But if satellites are geostationary, that is anti-geostationary. It's actually going so much faster than our rotational speed, which makes all the stars appear to be perfectly still. That thing was moving against that rotational speed very rapidly, which does not make any sense to me, to try and tell me that was a satellite. No king way. There is shit going on up there that we will never know about unless we ask the right questions in the right places and we demand it gets revealed. That's the only way it's going to happen. Ask and you shall receive. What was that? Anyway, peace and out. It's almost getting dark enough to see the stars.